or trending now, and Olamide is standing by to tell us what's trending now.
Olamide is here.
Good morning, Miss Veronica.
Good morning, Olamide.
Bright and pink. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning.
you.
Good morning.
You know, I absolutely love Mondays because I get to bring all the gist from the weekend for you guys.
Oh, nice.
And it's always a lot. So I'll jump right in.
Take it away.
I'll jump right in.
Right.
As usual, TVC has our finger on the pulse. If it's trending, we're talking about it. Now, the transmission company of Nigeria has just refuted over the weekend, has refuted claims that, that suggest that the national grid collapsed. Earlier reports allege that a grid failure caused widespread blackouts across the country. Now, in a statement, Ndidimba, TCN's General Manager of Public Affairs, clarified that the incident was not a grid collapse, but rather a power tripping on the Benin or Motosho 330 kV transmission line. Now, Nigeria's national grid has faced significant challenges in recent years, recording 11 collapses in 2024 alone, which is leading to recurrent nationwide blackouts. Now, while TCN continues to assure the public of stability, the frequency of these incidents has fueled concerns about the country's power infrastructure and its reliability. Now, of course, the national grid collapsing, 11, 12 times in the past year does not foster public trust at all. Of course, people were quick to believe the news that the national grid had collapsed because it's known to collapse. I will commend the TCN, though, for constantly being transparent online and communicating with people when this happens. I think it's time, and we've been saying this time and time again in the media, but it's really time for us to invest in modernizing the national grid. I mean, other countries globally are decentralizing power and investing in microgrids to ensure more reliability. And perhaps we could even take a page out of South Africa's book, who gives their citizens blackout timetables or load shedding timetables. So at least people know when there's going to be no light. And I don't think people are just complaining about the national grid collapsing because of comfort or having light or amenities. We have to understand that Nigerians lose hours of productivity whenever the national grid collapses. Businesses lose money. So it is a big deal, but I commend the TCN for keeping us in the loop. We'll take some social media tweets now. Bolanle A says, I was brought to Nigeria in 1978, and I heard people shout up NEPA until I returned to the UK at the end of the 80s. And I still heard it when I visited Nigeria in the 90s. How is it that almost 5 decades later, instead of improvement, the country now faces constant national grid collapses, despite how much money has supposedly been sunk into the sector? Great point, Bolanle. Will take another one. Now, Peter Obi also had to renege on his statement because when the national grid was allegedly collapsed, he did come out to say this is unacceptable, but over the weekend he reneged on his statement and he said, following my earlier message regarding the alleged collapse of the national grid, which was based on reports from media platforms, I have since learned that there was no such collapse. So the TCN is proving people wrong. We'll take another tweet now. Somebody else said, if everyone has power, no one would believe the news and you won't have any need to debunk it. Again, fostering public trust, TCN. Now, someone else says, whether it collapsed or not, most Nigerians won't notice because there is never light. I hear you and I feel you, but we have to get through this hard time and give the national grid some time to adjust and modernize. In our next story, an Ibom Air flight from Uyo to Abuja was cancelled after a single passenger's disruptive behavior caused delays. The passenger was clearly upset that her luggage wasn't loaded due to weight restrictions, and she refused to fly and blocked the aisle. Now, despite interventions from FAN, AFSEC, and even the pilot, she continued. According to Michael Achimugu, the Director of Public Affairs for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the pilot even offered to carry her oversized luggage into the cabin, but her refusal continued and delayed the flight until Uyo Sunset airspace shut down. Now, this standoff was not a joke. It left 89 passengers stranded, costing Ibom Air millions of naira in losses. Of course, angry Nigerians, tensions escalated as other passengers expressed frustration and caused some to even want to physically attack her and do mob justice. But AFSEC and airline personnel, led by Amaka Echetabo, intervened to defuse the situation. Now, of course, this incident has sparked calls for stricter regulations on passenger conduct in Nigeria's aviation sector, and rightly so. We see this all the time in the media, an irate passenger and confrontation in the airspace. I will say, though, that the Uyo airport being a sunset airport did escalate the situation. I mean, the passengers knew that the moment the sun went down, they wouldn't be able to fly. And so they were very angry at her. And as the sun went lower and lower, people were very angry. Incidents like this really do highlight the gaps we have in Nigerians' aviation policies. I mean, perhaps sunset airports like this could look into investing into extending their operational hours. So no matter what kind of disruption takes place, people are still able to fly. And I have to say that the swift intervention by Amaka Echetabu and the Ibom Air team really highlights the importance of well-trained staff who are able to manage crisis and high-tension situations. She stepped in, and even though the woman was wrong, stopped them from harming her, which is a big deal. Now, I really, really hope that those people who missed their flights are compensated. 2 passengers said that because of the delay, they had missed their connecting international flights. And a British Airways flight in this economy, guys, we know that it's not cheap. And so a lot of passengers also said that they don't live in Uyo. And so, of course, the airline lost money and still had to make concessions and arrangements for the people who didn't live in Uyo. So they lost a lot of money. I really hope that there's repercussions for this, because this behavior from this woman, honestly, I have to condemn it. It is not okay. She shared her collective responsibility and was individualistic and angry, and everybody suffered for it. You see what happens when we choose anger. But we'll take some tweets now. Mustafa says, Ibom Air is one of the most efficient domestic airlines. This lady should have been removed from the flight much earlier. What nonsense. I concur, Mustafa. We'll take another tweet right now. Someone else says, I don't see why she should be prosecuted. She did the right thing, in quote. Her luggage should not be left out, and airlines should not bite more they can chew by collecting money from passengers and leaving their luggage out for another flight to bring it. She did the right thing. I will agree with him in the sense that we need more passenger education. On weight limits and weight restrictions. People need to understand what they're getting into when they get on a flight. In international news, TikTok's future in the US hangs in the balance as lawmakers are debating banning the app over national security concerns. Now, critics are alleging that its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, could share user data with the Chinese government, and we know that America and China relations are at an all-time tense relationship. Now, TikTok has over 2 billion users, and about 70% of those users are under the age of 30. So this is going to be very sad. But the Supreme Court is taking hearings right now, and Trump has said that he will save the app so that young people feel represented, and so that he doesn't trample on their First Amendment rights. Unfortunately, I have to go now. That's all I have for today, but see you next time. Back to you guys. What do you guys think about this? They're going to scrap TikTok.
Well, TikTok is not my issue. The major issue for me is the passenger. It's sad that she wasn't handled properly from my own perspective. She shouldn't have been able to disrupt the flight and disrupt other people's plans. If the management of the airline had handled it as they should, she's just a single passenger. She's not all the passengers. So are you saying that she overpowered all of you? So she should have been handled and attended to as quickly as possible. But
so let me quickly touch on the TikTok thing. Well, the Democrats are going to do what they're going to do. Trump says he's going to come back and ensure that TikTok goes, even if nothing is done at the end of the day. Certainly, there is IPs that people can actually, they can circumvent.
VPN, they use VPN.
You know, the VPN, that's the word. Yes. So to circumvent the law. And all
time is up, so we have to leave you now. Anyway, this is the much we can take on the program for today. Let's let you know that the views and reaction of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Up next is Your View with the Ladies, and afterwards is This Morning with Nifemi Oguntoye.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ibrahim Shita.
And I'm Veronica Onuchi. Danny Boy, whoa, how dare
amazing. No, it's a Twitter handle. Yeah,
all right.
It's very much useful to your Twitter handle.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Have a lovely day. Bye.